G'day all and welcome back to the Freo Faithful podcast, episode 28. And Drewz, what a big week ahead we have. We play the Gold Coast Suns in our first final in 3 years this Saturday night. And I'm very excited for it. I'm going to assume you are as well. How are you feeling first of all, mate?
Feeling great because it's my favourite Freo Players Number podcast this week, Neil Erasmus, episode 28.
Sign the contract.
And sign the contract, Neil. And I was thinking today at work, I was like, all the games in the lead up to the last 3 years actually mean nothing when you get into finals. This is the real stuff. This is where wins actually lead, wins do lead to something. But this is where boys become men. And it's what we speak about and dream about all the time. The boys better dare to dream because I am. We're going all the way. And it starts this week against the Suns at home. And I have a little announcement, Noah, actually.
Do you?
Yep. I was sitting here during bye week, lost the grand final in Wattle Park by 50 points, and I thought, I need to see my team win a final. So I'm flying to Perth to watch the Dockers. Come on. Yeah. I'm coming home, boys. Had to be done.
Perth's always a better place when you're here, mate. So I'm very, very keen to see you.
Anyone want to go to the pub? Does anyone fancy a pre-game pub? Little Campfield number. I'm probably going to try to go there before the game. I think it's the best place to soak up the atmosphere. I haven't been there in a while, so I don't know what the prices are like with the cost of living. But
mate, inflation, mate.
Yeah, well,
it's out of control.
You can't even buy a pint, let alone get into the Campfield.
Mate, I find ways.
If you see Noah jump in the fence, we will both be there. Noah on the apple juice before the game. If you want to come and say g'day, come and say g'day, and let's whip the Dockers home. Week 1 of finals. How are you feeling, Noah? Did we do the pod before? Yeah, last week we didn't know who our opponent was going to be. We saw Gold Coast
we didn't know.
Absolutely hammer the Bombers, just ridiculous style, like sort of easy mode AFL evolution stuff. How do you feel about the matchup? How confident are you?
Well, I just want to go back to what you said before about how it just feels like none of the past 24 weeks mattered. Like, this is where the real stuff actually starts. And I was going back and I was looking at the podcast we did after the Suns game earlier this year when we beat them on the Gold Coast. And I remember the description said, Fremantle had a famous victory on the Gold Coast. Now, as much as it was a great win at the time, I will not remember that game in 5 years.
Was
not a famous victory. I might, but to be honest, mate, famous is a pretty steep way to put it. This is where the real stuff starts. You think of famous victories, you think of, Geelong in Geelong 2013 qualifying final. You think of the 2013 prelim. You think of the Bulldogs Elimination Final a few years ago. You think of all these finals that make the club what it is. And this is a big game that could produce a famous result if all goes our way. I'm really confident, to be honest, and it's not a good way to be. I think the Bulldogs game, you were especially alluding to sort of resigning yourself to the fact that we were probably going to lose that game, so you wouldn't get disappointed, and we ended up winning. I think I'm going in the opposite direction here. I'm really, really expecting a win in this game, and if we don't get it, I think it's a huge failure. You look back to, obviously it was before my time, potentially even before your time, I'm not sure, but our first final back in 2003, we were just happy to be there, and we got absolutely pummeled by about 80 points to Essendon, I believe, if I were to guess. When teams make their first final series, they tend to just get stage fright. This is going to be the biggest crowd Gold Coast have ever played in front of in their history. So I really hope we can just take the home ground advantage and really use it in our favour. If we take the footballing aspect away, because Gold Coast are obviously a really good footy team, I trust that we'll be able to do enough damage on our home deck to kick a winning score.
Yeah, well, aside from our own team, Gold Coast have... This is just fact, have repeatedly not shown up in big games or games where they're expected to win. So even against Port Adelaide a few weeks ago, it was Travis Boak and Ken Hinkley's last game, and that was a big enough moment to get Port up and about, and Gold Coast choked. Their record away from home last year particularly was terrible. So that does, and just genuine inexperience in finals. Not that we have played that many finals and our team's that experienced in finals, but and I'm sort of contradicting myself now by saying that none of the other games matter, because we have played so many high-pressure games in this last little bit, like against the Dogs, against the Lions, even though that we lost. The game at the MCG against the Pies, the game against Hawthorn, like our record against top 8 sides stacks up. Even the back 4 games of last year, even though we lost, those are all like do or die games. And we didn't have key players in, which is why JL says that we lost in the end. But this season we've pretty much managed to find a way in most games, other than that St Kilda game and the D's game and the Geelong game. Other than those 3 stinkers, we've found a way to adapt in game, and whether we've won or lost, we've never folded over. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the game pans out. And how do you see it going?
Well, I see it going one way, and I see Fremantle getting over the line and going to a semi-final. I mean, that's obviously not true. I see it going 2 ways. We very well. I mean, you just look, because that final 3 years ago against the Western Bulldogs, we didn't go in as heavy favourites as we are going in to this final, but we still went in as relatively comfortable favourites. We conceded the first 7, and we were on the very back foot. I couldn't go any further back with my feet. So, the Bulldogs really got a hold of us, and that was stage fright, because that was our first finals campaign in 7 years, and more importantly, it was JL's first finals campaign, and the first finals campaign with that group of players. So, JL sort of harped on about how this is a very, very different group of players from 2022, and you can see where he's coming from. We had Will Brodie leading the midfield, we had James Ashoff halfback, Blake Acres on the wing, Rory Lobb, the anchor in the forward line. So only 3 years has passed, but so much has changed, and just so much development from pre-existing talent as well. You know, Caleb Serong, Andy Brayshaw, Hayden Young, these guys all played in that final, but they weren't the players that they are today. You can maybe argue Andy Brayshaw was, but Caleb Serong and Hayden Young, who in our eyes are probably more important than Andy, you know, the leaders of our midfield, you know, they are different players, and they are dominant players when they get to their best. So I just think the improvement and the development of this playing list in the past 3 years is really going to hold us in good stead, because I just remember when we went over in the second week, that semi-final against Collingwood, stage fright's the only way you can put it. We got so scared, we were timid, and we didn't lose by that much, but you could just tell from the first bounce we were never going to win that football match. However, the wins we've had this year have been in front of big crowds against good oppositions, and I really feel like we can stand up to this do-or-die sort of pressure in front of however many people against whatever opposition. Against a Gold Coast team who have shown time and time again that they struggle in these environments. So I think everything really stacks up for us to hopefully get a result on Saturday, but I also don't want to lead down the arrogant route.
Yeah, man, I've never heard you sound more confident heading into a game all season. Even derbies.
I don't know. I mean, derbies are just scary, aren't they?
Yeah. That Bulldogs final, you said like Brayshaw's not as important as Serong and Hayden Young, and you probably don't really mean it, but yeah, Hayden Young was playing as a half back then. Serong was rising star, the year before?
2 years before, yeah.
2 years before, God. So these boys have been in the league for a long time now.
Yeah.
We've got so much experience since then. And yeah, it's actually crazy to think, like, if you had told me at the end of 2022 that we wouldn't play finals until 2025, you'd be pretty disappointed, wouldn't you? But nevertheless, here we are. Speaking on the game, Gold Coast midfield is ridiculous. They're the second best clearance team in the AFL, I think only behind the Bulldogs, who we matched in clearances, which is promising. But I think Noah Anderson will win the Brownlow medal. They had 2 midfielders in the All-Australian team in Anderson and Rao. Anderson also won the coaches player of the season. So genuine quality in there. We've beat them already this season on the Gold Coast. It was a wet day. Luke Jackson was one of my best on that day. He pretty much played on ball all game there in the wet, and it's going to be similar conditions again. Paddy Voss really stood up that day as well. Brayshaw's chasing. That was the sort of themes of the day. So, sort of, how do you think we match up stylistically, and how do you see the game unfolding tactically, other than Freo just getting up?
Well, Matt Rowell and Caleb Serong are the 2 best clearance players in the comp statistically. That's not opinion, that's fact. So those 2 are going to go at it from the first bounce. And Gold Coast are one of the only teams in the comp that don't tag. And when Caleb Serong doesn't get tagged, there's not a game where he doesn't go off. So I'm expecting a big game from Caleb. I think he's just going to go head-to-head with Rao. And I'm not saying Rao's not going to have a day out, but I think Caleb also is. And it's just whoever has more influence with the ball out of the middle. And I think one thing that plays into our favour is how reliant Gold Coast are on winning clearance to win a game of football. If they don't win clearance, there's a very, very low chance they're winning. I'd love to see the statistics on when they lose clearance and when they lose football matches and when they win clearance and when they win games. I think it would match up pretty well. So they're very, very reliant on that. And then I think we've sort of gone the other way this year. I think we're far less reliant on winning contests. We were the best team in the league at it last year, and we've gone backwards in that aspect, but we've also won more games. So I look back to that St Kilda game at home about 6 weeks ago when we beat them by a couple goals. St Kilda slaughtered us in clearances that day. Marcus Winhager, Hugo Garcia, Jack Steele, whoever was going through there, they had our number, but we still just found a way, and we moved the ball in sort of different ways, different methods. So I think that's a way we can beat Gold Coast. Even if they win contest, I still feel like we can get a chokehold on them in that way. Whereas if we win contest, I don't think Gold Coast have an answer. Given I just don't think their backline's going to be able to stack up against, Tracy and Voss. Like Sam Collins is a great anchor to have, but how they work as a team defense, they're a little bit shorter. You've got the Bodie Eulens who sometimes plays a bit taller. So yeah, I just don't think they match up awfully well against us in the key position areas, but it's certainly the contest that's going to be the big talking point.
Yeah, I sort of disagree with that. Like, I think they do match up well. When you got Mac Andrew, you could probably go on Tracy or Voss. Like, that's going to be a sick matchup. Whoever Mac Andrew goes to, Sam Collins probably more likely to go to Tracy and then Euland on Amos. But you did say, the system hasn't taken as much time to develop, and that's really what we do have in our favour, is a very strong defensive system. So I think personnel-wise, they've got it there. But when you've got, I always get their names confused. Is it Noble?
John Noble, yeah.
Noble. I always get him confused with that other blonde player that used to play for Collingwood that went to Port Adelaide.
Oh, Richards.
Yeah, two different blokes that left in the same transfer period. But, him and Rioli, they're really like the same sort of mould as Jason Johannesson and Bailey Dale in terms of players that bring the ball out from the back half, and they're not necessarily, the best defensive players in the competition. So, yeah, again, similar to the Bulldogs game, if we can match them in clearances, we're going to be well on our way to winning the game, hopefully. Ben King's in good form, but we've seen our back six do incredible jobs on really good forwards all year. We're not going to take this game lightly, obviously. But yeah, I think just systematically, we are better than the Gold Coast, regardless of the talent that they have. The Gold Coast Suns are going to be a very good team for the next 4 or 5 years. And once they get good and, really mature into their system, it's going to be scary how good the Suns are. But also without getting ahead of myself, just feels like it's our time to really come of age, show our maturity, get the job done in a big game and move on to the next one. I sort of alluded to it in last week's podcast, but that third quarter against the Dogs, I was so impressed with just being able to buffer their momentum. That showed a sign of maturity and the ability to hold on and not bottle it when we were in the position to win it. So, with the weather looking how it is, it might be a low-scoring game, but hopefully it dries up a little bit because we want to see a good game of footy. But if it is wet, we've shown that we are a good wet weather team. We pump Port in the wet, we beat Gold Coast in the wet. There's probably some others in there that I'm forgetting as well. But Optus Stadium, Saturday night, into some drum and bass. What a way to spend a weekend in Perth.
A big talking point going into this game is Corey Wagner, because he's out for the season. He's gone and torn his pec on us, which is very unfortunate. And I'd say Wags probably had his best game in purple against the Suns earlier this year. He was brilliant. 18 touches, 1 goal, and had a bucket load of score involvements. Who comes in to replace Wags? It's not as straightforward as some might think, because I think the default answer would be Nathan O'Driscoll, given he played really well in the last Peel game of the season, who obviously aren't playing finals now. But then you've got Matty Johnson, who was in our best team all year when we were winning games. He's that big body, but then the versatility is probably the only question with Jono. So, it's an interesting one. Where would you be leaning in that sort of debate?
I feel like, I don't know, on a night like this, you probably want a bigger body. So maybe you do go towards Johnson. But then if Jackson plays more midfield time, does Johnson sort of become irrelevant? Do you need more speed?
I reckon Jackson's been kicked out of the midfield permanently. I don't think we're going to see him back in there this year.
But it worked so well in the wet last time we played against them.
Maybe, because they're not... the thing is, Matt Rao has had a massive evolution in his game since we played them last.
True.
Matt Rao used to just be a contested beast, got the ball out, did all the grunt work, where he's actually now getting the ball and running 10 yards and getting it inside 50. So, yeah, look, I couldn't think of the terminology. But, yeah, he's had a massive evolution in his game. He can run. He can use the ball very well. So, I'm not sure if that would make Jackson a liability, but I do agree. Like, Dogger was unbelievable when he played in the midfield earlier this season. I also recall, though, that was Sean Darcy's first game back, and Darcy was on very, very limited minutes. So Jackson was playing a lot of ruck that game. So it makes it interesting.
Yeah, we've got the options there, but yeah, see how we go. Yeah, they don't, like, their midfield terrifies me, but as I said, if we can equalise, I think we'll be well on our way. So yeah, there we go. We've previewed the game. We usually do that at the end of the game, talking about the last game. But the last game we've already spoken about. Got some awards, though, last Thursday. Didn't we? Hey? It was a Docker domination. Murphy Reid on the stage, speaking like a pro. Just a well-spoken man. Just happy playing his footy. 1 year in. Just looks like the ultimate pro. Geordie Clark gets All-Australian. And then Caleb Serong's on the bench. How did you feel about all of it overall?
Well, Murphy Reid, AFL Players Association, best first-year player. I mean, if that doesn't mean that the Rising Star's coming his way on Brownlow night in a few weeks, then I don't know what does. Very, very happy to see Bruce up there. He looked a bit out of his depth. You could tell how nervous he was on the stage, to be honest. Like, he's just... like, he spoke very well, but you could tell he was... Like, he's in a room with Marcus Bontempelli and just...
Yeah, he gave Marcus Bontempelli a bath the week before.
He did, to be fair, but I thought Bruce spoke very well, and it was good to see him get his plaudits, and he'll get a Rising Star in a few weeks. The All-Australian is really interesting, so I thought Jordan Clark was a lock for this. I was happy to see him get his plaudits. I thought guys like Dan Zorka were a bit stiff to miss out, to be honest, but I'm happy it was at the expense of Geordie. Caleb Serong, I was not expecting to make the team, I'll be honest. That bench... that interchange, Matt Rao, Marcus Bontempelli, Nick Dacos, Caleb Serong. If we're playing a real game of football, yes, they're four fantastic footballers, but geez, the balance has just gone out of the window, hasn't it? So yeah, actually wasn't expecting to see Caleb there. He's been tagged out of a few games this year, but 3 straight All-Australian blazers. I mean, he is a modern-day Fremantle legend in the making. He's only 6 years into his career, and he's producing things that very few Fremantle players have. I think Fifey's only got 3 All-Australians, so he's already equalled that. He's having some sort of year. And yeah, Geordie Clark, we were speaking about it earlier this year. Best two-way half back in the league, and I'll stand by that ahead of our first final. He attacks and defends in equal manner. You can send a really dangerous small forward to him, and I think he's really accountable defensively. So, really happy to see Geordie get recognition for that. And overall, happy with our 3 lads, getting the job done.
Yeah, oath. Look, happy to see Caleb Serong get the blazer. Don't get me wrong. But, yeah, it was a bit of an up and down year for him, getting tagged out of games. Like, when you have a player... I thought the biggest snub was Josh Worrell, because the season that he had for the Crows down back, so strong, so consistent. And they didn't have another defender on the bench. So I thought that was a bit stiff. But we'll take Serong. And like you said, Jordan Clark, he's... For me, probably our best and fairest. I don't have any say on it, but if I could choose one bloke to get the best and fairest, I'd say Jordan Clark. Just spoils everything, the smothers, and then, like you said, the attack that he provides off halfback has been invaluable for the Dockers in 2025. So, yeah, good on you, Geordie. One thing that I wanted to speak about that we were talking about before, we were talking about, Gold Coast, big crowd, biggest crowd they've ever played in front of and whatnot. When I go to the Freo games or I watch on TV when I'm not at Optus, I feel like we play how you can really feel the emotion of the crowd. Like, I feel like in the Brisbane game we were so excited, but it made us almost anxious and jittery with the ball in hand. So I'm like, imagine we just hit them hard early, give them the old heave ho, and then we're just confident. and then it's just like a cheering. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to be one of those games where it's like, oh, almost, I just want it to be like straight out the gates, getting it done. Do you know what I mean by the atmosphere?
I 100% agree. That Brisbane game a few weeks ago is like nothing not football related, but it's like nothing I've experienced at Optus Stadium watching the Dockers. The vibe going into the stadium, like on the train on the way of the game, walking into the stadium, it was genuine excitement. It was genuine just like, yeah, we're going to pump them, and not pump, but you get what I mean. Like there was a genuine like anticipation for the game. And even when the players were running out, there was just a feeling around it. You know, Fife, you got announced on the big screen. The entire stadium cheered. It was not weird, but it was. I would have thought it would have been intimidating for Brisbane, but obviously they played in front of these crowds, and yeah, as you mentioned, we just got a little bit ahead of ourselves. I'm really happy though that game's an anomaly, because we've shown in games this season that we can win in front of big crowds and not get stage fright. So I think that game's an anomaly, and if we do end up playing Brisbane again in this final series, then we're just going to have to look at playing them in a different way. So yeah, I agree. I think the energy and the way we play matches up. I think they correlate pretty much every week.
Yeah, well, what would you say? Let's say we get past the Suns, because we got to. I saw Fox Footy post like, what is your team's pass mark? And Fox Footy said like, beat the Suns. If we only beat the Suns this final series, I would be flat as. Like, I genuinely think our semi-final is okay, but for me to be like, fuck, that was a good season, I reckon we got to make a prelim. And given our record against top 8 sides, we stack up. We've won 13 of our last 15 or whatever it is. Give me Geelong at the G. Please give me Geelong at the G. Because I don't want to go to the Gabba. I don't want the boys to fly over there. Even though the Lions are beatable at the Gabba these days, I want to watch us play at the G. I can fly back and see Freo play 2 finals in a row. And then if Collingwood beat the Crows in the first week and we beat Geelong, then I can see all 3 Freo finals. Oh, how good would that be?
Oh, yeah. You're living the life, aren't you, mate?
Living La Vida Loca.
I'll see you on Grand Final day. I can guarantee you that. But, yeah, look, to be honest, we've been put on a pretty rough side of the bracket, haven't we? The two best teams in the comp are playing each other.
So rough, man.
And we're going to have to play the loser. One thing plays into our favour, or two things. Brisbane can't play at the Gabba anymore for some reason. They've just lost the ability. So it's not like we've historically played well at the Gabba. I can't remember the last time we played.
It was 2016 last time we won at the Gabba.
Oh, it's fair, 9 years ago. So yeah, and we were shocking then, and so were Brisbane. So basically a dead rubber. And then Geelong at the MCG in finals, we've just got a weirdly good track record. I mean, by weirdly good track record, I mean, it's 50-50 against Geelong at the MCG. We lost the 2010 semi-final and beat them in the 2012 elim. Obviously, it just doesn't make a difference. It's just completely different playing groups. Fifey played in both of those games, but it's irrelevant. Yeah, I'd rather Geelong at the MCG, to be honest. I think we play the MCG well. I think we can attack Geelong in a completely different way to what we did in round one. That just seemed like a lifetime ago, that game. Honestly, if I were to watch that game again, I'd be so confused. Like that team is just completely different to what we are playing now. Not just the personnel, but just the way we were playing. We were timid in that game, and the way we've just grown throughout the year into this final series. I've got faith we'd be able to take at least Geelong to the edge.
We did not rock up that day against Geelong at all. Like, no. I was trying to stir up Jesse the other day, True Eagle guy, True Footy guy, and I was like talking about how West Coast finish games and then get pumped in the end. And I was like, yeah, I know how it feels to like get pumped by that much to Geelong. He's like, no, you don't. I'm like, what do you mean? And we lost by like 70 something points to Geelong in the end. It was like 75 points, complete blowout. I think West Coast only lost by about 7 goals. So yeah, it shows you how far we've come this year. Like,
well, I reckon West Coast hit the lead in the third quarter in that game.
They pushed them.
We came pretty close in the third quarter with the Murphy Reid 4-goal spurt.
Without
that, just blew us out in the fourth.
Yeah,
mate. Yeah, it's scary.
So it's like an unknown going up against Geelong, and yeah, I don't know. I back our midfield against. Look, in the top 8, the only midfield I don't back us against is Brisbane, especially when Lachie Neale comes back in. But if we had to go to Adelaide and take on the Crows, I reckon we could split that, if not win that, to be honest.
Yep.
I think we could do it against 100%. Geelong. Geelong, they're a bit more physically, they're like runners, and Tommy Atkins is tough, but I don't know. We just got more looks in there, more threats, and yeah, Geelong are a weirdly young team when you look at their team on paper. So yeah, I wouldn't go into that game expecting to lose at all. In fact, I would be flat if we lost it, because I think we're up in our necks this final series. It's such an even final series as well. Like, the Crows finished top, but they haven't played finals since, the Granny? Is that the last time they played finals?
Yeah, it was, 2017.
So that just shows you that, they're not going to go in with a whole lot of, they'll be confident, but then you got teams like Collingwood that, Dacos and DeGoey pulled up with the injuries at training today. Whether or not they'll play this week, I'm not sure. But they're going to be battered and bruised after the Crows game. Geelong are just brilliantly poised, and so are Brisbane, and they're probably the two favourites to take it out. But yeah, I just look at all the matchups, I look at our record against the top 8 sides, and I go, just dare to dream, boys. You never know what can happen. And with our record over the last 3 months, why the fuck not? When's going to be a perfect time to win the flag? How much more maturity do you have to go through? I'm not saying we're going to win the flag, but we can go deep this final series. There's no reason we can't. We've got such a good bill of health at the moment as well. To think Young's back in the side, Alex Pearce is back in, our forward line is exactly how we need it. The only thing we don't have is really Corey Wagner, who's has been an important player for us. But other than that, we're set. It couldn't be positioned any better for us. Maybe we get a top 4 finish or whatever, but yeah, off we go, lads.
Well, I'm not sure if you've just answered the question that's about to be asked, but we have received a message through the Heave hotline. If I'd like to play it out now, it's from someone called Hench.
Hey fellas, it's Henchy. I'm just curious where you think how far we can actually go this season. I reckon we'll knock off the Suns. And then I reckon the Lions will beat Geelong, and then we'll have to face Geelong at the G. And I reckon we can pull off a huge upset there. Now, this could just be me speaking from all the bad times that I've experienced in the past, but I reckon we'll get knocked out in the prelim. Probably won't go further than that. But, what's your thoughts? Cheers.
That's pessimistic in my eyes, mate. I think we're going all the way. But no, to be honest, I think there's a pretty, common thought process in our fan base. We should knock off Gold Coast. Are we getting a bit ahead of ourselves speaking this far in the future? Maybe, but we should knock off Gold Coast. And then you'd have to back us away against either Geelong or Brisbane. Not back us, but you'd have to give us at least half a chance, given our record away from home in these big games. And I think that semi-final would be our hardest game of the entire finals. That prelim is so winnable. And then the grand final is a 50-50 coin flip, no matter who's playing. So, yeah, obviously, like you just said, I'm not saying we're going to get to the grand final in the premiership, but, geez, how much more maturity do we need? You look at the average age we've got on our list, and we're the youngest finals team by a fair way. We're the 4th youngest in the comp, just in front of Essendon, West Coast, or Richmond. So, we're still a young team. But if you look at the on-field maturity, Jago O'Meara, Nat Fyfe, Alex Pearce... I was about to say Josh Tracy because he feels like a veteran, but he's only 22. So, yes, we're a young team, but geez, we've got key pillars of our leadership sort of panel that are going to go soon, and I think we need to do it with them in there.
Yeah, we would like to see it. We want to see... That's another thing, bro. We can't send that Fife out without a flag. Oh. Come on now. Name a better player, maybe Nathan Buckley, that hasn't won a premiership. You know what I mean? Not if you think of a YouTube video, top 10 players that never won a flag, coming in at number 1, Nathan Fife. I'd hate to see that, and it's it's probably more likely to be reality. Let's be real, but it's our last shot to give our greatest of all time a flag, and it'll just be so flat to see another Mundy situation. We were never going to win it that year, but just to see Mundy go off, and even though he kicked a good goal out of the middle. He got interviewed after the game, and they were like, "Oh, that was a good moment for you to kick a goal." And he's like, "Yeah, but I've finished my career without a flag, mate. So not really."
Yeah. It would just break your heart, wouldn't it? But I think we've mentioned it 5 times. We've got the pieces, we've got the fibers to do something special this year. And Nat Fyfe whether you want to hear it or not, isn't necessarily going to have a massive impact on that. He's probably going to play one quarter at most a week. But it's just seeing him in the I'd hope it's just seeing him in the locker room, knowing the aura and what he's done for not just the club, but for the city of Fremantle. And just thinking, this isn't just any bloke we're playing for here. We're playing for the GOAT of this football club, and he probably will be forever. So, yeah, I just hope the players know the task they've got at hand and who they're playing for.
I reckon the GOAT of Freo is going to be whoever wins the first Norm Smith for Freo, to be honest. That's the only way I can see Fife being taken away as the GOAT. But get in the comments why you think Luke Ryan is our best defender of all time.
That's ridiculous. Luke McFarlane, if you're listening, I hear he's a keen Freo Faithful listener.
Is he?
Apologies. Yeah, no, I don't know that.
But yeah, I don't know how much more there is to say. Usually we unpack one and preview another and talk some shit about the Freo chant in the middle of it, but it's a bit of a different
You'll get to hear it for the first time in person on Saturday. It happens for the first Freo goal each game. Mate, your life will change.
If I don't see every single Freo fan up on their feet going, Freo, I'll be probably pleased, to be honest.
You should be, yeah.
But yeah, no, it's going to be nice heading back to Perth. Heard the weather's looking terrible the weekend I'm there, but no, it's going to be nice to reconnect with the fam and, do the old trip that I used to do every single week since the age of 4, going up, watching the Dockers play. Little pub feed and a pint before the game at the Camfield. Keen for that. If you're about, if you see me and Noah kicking back, come say good day. And hopefully we can get the vibes up before heading into a finals win. It's September, Noah. We've made it.
Oh, we have made it, mate. It's a long time coming, and to be honest, you look at some other fan channels that are in the AFL scene, and they're waiting for their first finals appearance still. Well, they've only ever had one or two in their channel's history. We've created Freo Faithful, and we've dived straight into September. So I don't want to say with a good luck charm, but geez, we've got to have something to do with it. So
you wouldn't want to miss finals as a fan channel, would you? Like for us now, I reckon we end Freo Faithful the next time we miss finals. We'll just cut it dead. What's the point?
I mean, there's no point. Like, what do you mean we're going to be doing draft previews in September? It's not what we want to be doing, isn't it? Is it? So,
my roommate loves the trade preview, trade prediction. Oh, he loves it. So what are we doing about Campbell Chesser?
Oh, gee. Honestly, I don't know. Obviously, we're talking about the True Eagle bloke, I believe.
Yeah.
Honest, I want to give a shout out to him. I know it's Freo Faithful, but I want to give a shout out to him because he's actually persevered for this long talking about that shit football club. Like, I just wouldn't get any joy out of speaking about them. From the on-field stuff, from unpacking each game, to just unpacking the Oscar Allen shit, to unpacking, Matt Owens is coming to the club. This is going to revitalise our culture. So there's just so much that I would just hate to be doing in his shoes. So shout out to Jesse.
Dude,
he's a battler.
The discipline is unreal. Like, this is a great way to finish the podcast, by the way. Just talking about West Coast. Like, they have actually, when you really think about it, we take it for granted because they've been so shit for a while now, but they have actually been getting pumped for 4 years now. Like, they go into games never expecting to win. How sad is that?
Yeah, I know. Like, I remember when I was really, really young. You remember the magnet ladder you put on the fridge with all the teams on it? I always remember going, haha, Freo 1, West Coast 18, haha. Now it's been a reality for 4 years. Like, yes, it may be West Coast 18, Freo 11, or West Coast 18, Freo 6, but at least we're that much better than them that it's so funny. They've just won one game in a season. It is historically bad.
One game, dude.
Jeez, there's been a bit of sympathy creeping in from some Fremantle fans. I just want to reinforce that we have to enjoy every moment that this club is having these types of seasons, because they'll win a flag sooner rather than later. Yeah. Like, they're that sort of club that, like, as much as we dislike them and they're our rival, they're a bloody good football club, and they will get through this, and they will come out okay at the other side, I believe.
You know what, though?
And we've just got to enjoy every moment.
West Coast feel a little bit like they were a good club now. I actually don't know if they are anymore. I reckon they've gone that far backwards, and from what I hear, just from speaking to my connections, it sounds like, I don't know. It's gonna take them a while to get back to where they were. Like I don't think it's gonna be a quick rise by any means. But anyway, I think I've got an eavesdropper on my door, so I better quieten down before I get a big fart delivered.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if we should keep harping on about West Coast, but
we're enjoying
yeah,
it.
It's
a great time for the club.
We are enjoying it. Just quickly, you look at their list build. I don't want to go too deep, but you look at their list build and you look at their promising talents. Like, we take for granted, as I just mentioned earlier, I was speaking about our veterans and I accidentally got to Josh Tracy, who's 22. Like, the bloke is one of the best key forwards in the AFL at the ripe old age of 22. West Coast are only slightly younger than us, and we are competing for the top 4. So I want to quickly divert from West Coast and move on to us. Now, I want to segue nicely into how well we are positioned. And you know what? Look, as you said, this podcast is a bit off the rails because usually we've got a structure, but this one doesn't. David Walls, what a bloke.
Yeah, big ups David Walls.
The way he is built this list, it is the best list build in the comp. Whether we win silverware or not, like, you cannot deny that our talent and our age profile is up there with the best in the comp. It's incredible.
Isn't it funny how you just like fantasize about Freo during the day? Like today I was just like, oh, that forward line. God. Like Voss and Tracy. Oh, and Amos. But Voss and Tracy. And then like all the different types of half forwards we have. Like we have like the pressure little nugget Switkowski, Shea Bolton that's just got all the flair in the world, like just freakish talent. And then Frederick, just freak athlete, can take great marks. And then we've got the prodigy Murphy Reid, like genuine footballer, great ball user. Like you said, just great list build. Sarong, great clearance player. Brayshaw, I was having a chat with my mate Cookson the other day, and he was saying, I said to him, I was like, can you actually name a better two-way midfielder in the AFL than Andrew Brayshaw? I actually don't think you can. Someone that defends as well as they attack. You actually can't. And then Hayden Young, the X-Factor mid. You got the experience with Jager, the rucks. Like, you're right, man. Our list is fucking phenomenal.
Mate, that's very, very funny you've just mentioned that about Andy Brayshaw because I had PE today. I am still in school, believe it or not. But I had PE.
I believe it. I definitely believe it.
Thanks, mate. And I was sitting on the side. I was playing a bit of basketball. I went to the bench. And I just heard my PE teacher talking to his fellow co-worker. You know, I honestly can't think of a more overrated player in the AFL than Andrew Brayshaw. I honestly just think, like, I watch Fremantle games, and you look at Caleb Serong, and you look at Hayden Young, and Andy Brayshaw just has no impact. Now, this bloke isn't listening because he's a Richmond fan, which is even funnier. He's talking to a West Coast fan about this. But it's stinky all around. But Andrew Brayshaw, as you just mentioned, is there a better two-way midfielder in the comp? Because he may not rack up possession. He may not be the ball accumulator that maybe he once was at Fremantle when he won that Lee Matthews trophy. He doesn't have to be the main guy because we've got other main guys. We've got co-pilots in that midfield. You know, he puts his head over the footy. He plays with his heart on his sleeve. You look at the photos of the blood pouring out of his head after that Hawthorn game. You look at when he put his head over it in the Gold Coast game earlier this year. That's showing his defensive abilities. And then you look at his offensive abilities. There was a long period of time where he was the only midfielder hitting the scoreboard for us. So I just don't think you can underestimate how important Andrew Brayshaw is to this team and how good he is in the grand scheme of things. I think he's unbelievable.
I think his like field positioning and his intercepting and his just game awareness to go along with his toughness, his chase down tackling. Like, yeah, he's such a courageous player. Like, with the ball in hand, like, he's not the most elite kick in the AFL, but he's not a bad kick at all. But yeah, I feel like all of his attributes are like sort of 8 out of 10, but like chase down tackling, intercepting, field positioning, leadership are a 10. Whereas, you know, Hayden Young, 10 out of 10 kick. Caleb Serong, like ground ball gets ridiculous. So yeah, what a midfield we've got. Throw Shea through there, chuck Dogger through there, and hopefully we give Matt Rao a bath so hard until his hair turns a different colour.
Do you know, like, how many times... You were speaking about just fantasizing about Fremantle during the day. Do you know how many times I'm just, like, sitting down in the middle of the day And it just comes to me like Adam Simpson just got announced as the Jock McHale sort of who's going to award the Jock McHale medal, who's to the premiership coach. Can you just think of the full circle? Just Adam Simpson to his old assistant, Justin Longmuir. And then, Luke...
His old assistant? I'm just thinking a West Coast coach to a Freo coach. That'd be nuts.
Oh, well, yeah, you could say it like that. But JL learned his craft under Adam Simpson. So you could look at it in that way as well. And then Luke Hodge is awarding something as well. I think he might be awarding the Norm Smith. He beat us in our only ever grand final. Imagine the full circle moment of him awarding one of our players. and then Dogger wins Norm Smith and he gives a speech and it's just funny as fuck. And what a podcast we have.
And then you turn off the PlayStation. No, you can dream.
It's reality.
Mate, I was driving past the MCG the other day and I was just thinking just on a personal note, just like the highs and lows of life. And I was just looking at the MCG and I was like, one day there'll be a moment in there where everything will just be worth it.
Oh, it will be so special. Indescribably special. Have you pondered how you'd react?
Oh, I'd cry, yeah. I'd definitely cry.
Yeah.
I cried when we made the grand
tears would
final.
start.
In 2013, when the siren went on, I started crying. Like a little
Yeah.
bitch.
Oh, mate. To be honest, I've thought about it in different ways. I've thought about it, if we're up by heaps at three-quarter time, and I think we're home and hosed, I'd probably start crying there. Whereas if it's a close game, if we lose by heaps, I reckon all emotion would be stung out of it. If it's a close game, I reckon there's 5 minutes to go, we're down by 1, I'd start crying. I'd just be absolutely terrified at the prospect of...
Don't do that.
Oh,
Hold it together, mate.
I would.
No, I reckon if we had a pumping like Brisbane, I don't think the tears would come because I think it'd just be party time the whole time. But if we had to overcome adversity on the day, get it done, even that Sydney prelim, we did blitz them, but yeah, I don't know, that final siren just hit different that day. Yeah.
Oh.
Reminiscing.
Is this the prelim you're talking about?
Yeah, the Sydney prelim.
MC.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if we win a home prelim in the next few years, if the MCG chant isn't rocking around Optus Stadium, then we've lost something as a fan base. That is one of my earliest footy memories. I was 7 years old and I can still remember that MCG chant so vividly.
Yeah,
it's so special.
That was a great era because GTA just came out that week as well, like GTA 5. Still, there hasn't been a... Freo have made a grand final and haven't made the second final, and GTA 6 still isn't out, or whatever the fucking meme is. Someone will like that.
That's funny, yeah.
that was funny. Thanks, mate. It's why you're my co-host. Just back me up when I drop an absolute stinker. We need to start chanting, we're going to win the flag. We're going to win the flag. We're going to win the flag.
Just talk it into existence, and then it'll happen.
Yeah.
That's just how society works.
Yeah. What is it, manifesting?
Yeah, manifest. That was the word I was looking for. Manifest. If we manifest it into existence, then I don't see a world in which it doesn't happen. So, the Freo Faithful community is pretty strong. We might be at 1,000 subscribers by the time this podcast comes out. But
yeah, why have we been rambling shit and not talking about almost being at 1,000 subs? Get us to 1,000 subs. We could be there by the time the Freo game begins.
I think by now a lot of Fremantle fans would have switched over to another great Fremantle podcast in the...
We are 12 away. Subscribe.
Get us there.
All right, let's wrap it up there, Noah. We've just chatted so much shit in the last 15 minutes. Here we go. Finals time, September. It's what everything we do is for. Thank you for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe. Come for a pint at the Campfield. And, we'll see you Saturday at Optus, hopefully getting a dub against the Gold Coast Suns. Thanks for joining me, Noah.
All good, mate. As you just mentioned, come see us at the Campfield, 3:34, around then. We'll be there for a little bit before the game. And, come have a yarn about the Dockers with us. Huge game Saturday. We're either going to be on the podcast on Monday, crying and talking about who we're taking with pick 16 of the draft, or we're going to be previewing our game against Geelong or Brisbane. So, whatever happens next Monday, or whatever happens on the weekend, I hope you all have a good weekend. And we'll see you all next time.
God, Freo!